teach yoga and Pilates here at SAIT, and here to offer you a 30-minute movement break online. Today's movement break is going to incorporate your chair, so you can start with your chair placed on your mat, and we'll find the feet flat to the ground, roughly under your knees, with all 10 toes facing straight forward. Gently pressing down through the soles of the feet, a little bit down through your inner thigh, and at the same time, imagine your head made of helium, letting it rise towards the ceiling. And then I'll get us to bring our attention towards our breath, noticing that every time we breathe in, there's a gentle expansion or spread through the body. And every time we breathe out, a gentle contraction back in towards midline. Give us a bit of tactile feedback. We're just going to take a hand towards the chest and one hand towards your belly, letting your breath fill the chest and belly when you breathe in. And then noticing the chest and belly gently falling away from the hands as you breathe out. From there, I'll just get you to take your hands towards the sides of your rib cage. Same idea, seeing if it's possible to let your breath fill the sides of the ribs, expanding, spreading through the sides of the ribs. And then on the exhale, noticing the ribs softening, contracting back to midline. Give me a couple breaths there, trying to direct the breath in the spaces between the ribs. And then I'll invite you to bring your hands towards the back of your body. You could bring them lower, sort of mid-back if the shoulder allows. If the shoulder doesn't allow, just rest yourself towards the back of the chair for feedback. And then once again, letting your breath fill the back space of your body, expanding and spreading when we breathe in. And feel it fall away or contract back towards midline as you exhale. We're going to try to use all three of those patterns together to create more of a three-dimensional breathing pattern. So when you breathe in, you're feeling that expansion not just through the front of the body, but also through the sides and the back of your body. And then as you exhale, you're feeling the breath kind of gently contract back in towards midline. You could almost imagine a cylinder through the torso of your body. Filling the cylinder every time you breathe in all directions. And then feeling like that breath contracts away from the edges back towards center on your exhale. Wonderful. We're going to do a little twist to warm up the spine here. You're going to take one hand just to the outside of the opposite knee. You're going to press the knee into the hand into the knee, and begin to rotate through your spine. You could even grab onto the back of the chair with the other hand. And then as you rotate, I want to invite you to try to breathe in all directions, expanding and spreading through the front, side, and back of your body. And then letting it feel like it gently contracts away. We'll let it go. And we'll just repeat on the other side. Taking your hand to the outside of the opposite knee. Rotating towards that leg. And then trying to breathe in all directions. Front, side, back of torso. And letting it hug the midline on your exhale. We'll let go of your twist, and we'll just make our way up to standing here. We're going to move the chair. We're going to plant it on one end of your mat, all four legs on the chair so that it doesn't slide around on you. You're going to use your hands just to grab the outside edges of the chair and then walk your feet back to make sort of like a V or a downward facing dog shape through your body. First down dog, maybe add some wiggles, a little bit of movement, getting a sense of where your body feels tight and could use a little bit more attention. And then I want us to consider a line from your outer wrist, outer shoulder, and try to make it nice and long all the way through to your outer hip. So I'm pulling the hips up and away from my shoulders, feeling a nice long line. And then warming up the shoulders a little. When you're ready, you're gonna pull yourself forward towards sort of like a slanted plank pose. That same line, outer shoulder, outer hip to outer ankle there, will be a nice diagonal line through the body. And then you're gonna push with your arms to make your way back to that down dog shape. Pulling the hips up and out of the shoulders, feeling a nice long line. We'll repeat, pull yourself towards plank. And then push yourself up and back towards down dog. 2 more times, just like that. Pulling ourselves into that plank or push-up shape. And then pushing ourselves to down dog. When you're ready, we'll pull yourself towards plank. This time we're gonna add on. You're just gonna let your hips soften a little towards the chair. And I want you to pull and lift your chest up and towards the sky, creating a bit of a back bend. And then push yourself up and back to downward dog. From this down dog, I'm going to invite you to step 1 foot forward towards the chair, planting the foot roughly under your knee. You could use the edge of the chair just on sort of the knee or the shin there as sort of a boundary. I want you to reach back through the opposite inner heel down towards the earth as you lengthen the crown of the head up and away from that foot, finding a nice long, low lunge. We'll step that foot back to find your downward facing dog. From your downward facing dog, I'm going to invite you to pull yourself towards that plank on the chair. We'll lower the hips towards the chair and lift the chest towards an up dog. And then once again, push your way up and back, downward facing dog. We're going to take the opposite foot, step it towards the chair, knee stacked over the ankle. Reaching through that back inner heel, lengthening it away. As you stretch the crown of the head out of the tailbone, creating a long spine there. We'll step back towards that down dog, shifting the hips up and back, creating that shape. One more time, pull yourself towards plank. If you feel like you have the strength, you could bend the elbows, lowering yourself just slightly towards the chair, like chaturanga. And then pull yourself towards up dog. Push yourself up and back towards down dog. Once again, I'll invite you to take that right foot towards the chair. Knee stacked over the ankle. Find that long, low lunge. You can hold right here, repeating the same pose. Or if you feel steady and balanced, you could either reach the hands for the back of the chair or even extending them up towards the ceiling, coming towards high or crescent lunge. We'll bring the hands back to the chair. Step your front foot to the back foot. Return your way to a downward facing dog. Pull yourself towards that plank. If it feels right, bend the elbows to lower about halfway. Pull yourself towards up dog. And then push up and back, downward facing dog. We'll take the other foot between the hands towards the chair. When you're ready, you can stay in this low lunge, make your way to sort of a mid lunge, or find your way all the way up to high lunge. Bring the hands back to the chair. And then step your way back, downward facing dog. Pull yourself to plank. Maybe lower halfway or all the way down. Take your back bend. And then lift those hips up and back, down low. I'm going to invite you to step your right foot towards the chair. This time we'll leave the legs straight and we'll pivot the back heel back and down. Coming into a hamstring stretch, use the same arm as leg and just hook your thumb in your outer hip crease, gently pulling that outer hip back as you push into the big toe of your front foot. And then folding forward over that leg till you feel a stretch in the hamstring. You might find that you could bring your elbows towards the chair as you round forward. You might find it feels better for you to keep the arms straight with a long spine. From there, we'll take that front foot to meet the back foot. We'll pull our way up and back, downward facing dog. We'll step the opposite foot forward, pivot the back heel back and down. Use your thumb to hook right into the outer hip crease. We'll pull that outer hip crease back and then pressing into the opposite big toe there, down into the ground. Lengthen through the spine and maybe rounding forward if it feels okay towards your body. Taking a couple nice deep breaths, stretching out those hamstrings. When you're ready, we'll step our way back to downward facing dog. We're going to do a little bit of a shoulder stretch or lat stretch. I'll get you to come down onto your knees here. You're going to bring your elbows about shoulder width apart just on the seat of the chair. And then you can bring your fingertips together kind of like you're holding a grapefruit. Walk your knees back a little. And then we'll start to reach the elbows towards the chair. At the same time, feel like your hips are pulling or stretching straight back. You want to feel your shoulder blades wide on your rib cage. And like the front of the ribs can gently nestle a little towards the back of the rib cage so I'm not collapsing towards the earth here. And then see if you could take a couple nice deep breaths, those three-dimensional breaths, filling front, side, back of the body. And then on the exhale, letting it hug midline, connecting to your core. We'll come out, and then we'll find our way back to that downward facing dog shape. From this down dog, we're going to take the right foot forward, stepping it towards the chair, and then pivot your left heel back and down. Use the right hand towards the seat of the chair, and then extend your left arm up to the sky to find a variation of extended side angle. Holding here. And then we'll rotate towards the chair. We'll step that front foot to meet the back foot and find downward facing dog. We'll repeat with the left foot, stepping it towards the chair. Pivot your right heel back and down. Use your left hand towards the seat of the chair as you reach your right hand up to the sky. Holding there. And then we'll find our way up and back, downward facing dog. Pulling the hips up and away from the shoulders, lengthening through the spine. Let your knees come down to the ground. And let's revisit that shoulder stretch one more time, bringing the elbows towards the chair, about shoulder width apart. Fingertips coming together, leaving a little space for a grapefruit. Feel like the elbows stretch towards the back of the chair as you pull your hips back. Shoulder blades are wide on the rib cage. And you can think of the front ribs gently drawing towards the back ribs so that we're not collapsing. Couple nice deep breaths towards the ribs. We'll come out and we'll do one more dog using the seat of the chair. Pulling the hips up and away from the shoulders, stretching and lengthening through your spine. To end, adding a little bit of a rest. Can feel really nice if you have a lot of lower back discomfort. Bringing the backs of your calves just on towards the seat of your chair. So we'll bring those calves towards the seat of the chair. And then find your way onto your back. Rest your hands wherever it's comfortable. If it feels right, begin to soften the eyelids over the eyes. Letting your body begin to drip, melt into the mat underneath you. And creating just a bit of time and space for the simplicity of your breath.